All righty, we are live. Welcome to Locksmith Live, the #1 podcast for locksmiths and security professionals. I am your host, Wayne Winton, and today our special guest is Mr. Tom Foxwell. Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself, some of the things you've done with the association, and then most importantly, what we're doing with your fire door inspection certification class.
All right, thank you very much, Wayne. I appreciate the offer to be able to come on here and talk. Um, I was in the Marine Corps, got out in 1967. I was with the presidential helicopters as a security guard. So that was a very interesting time back when Johnson was in. But once I got out of the Marine Corps, I got tied into the locksmithing business. But I did it on the end or the side of a dealer. We did mostly automatic doors, terrace barricade, things like that. And then I became a manufacturer's rep. And I did that for about 35 years. But my customers were locksmiths, whole and true. I was with ALOA, and that's what we went after, and I enjoyed it. Back in 2000, I ran for office of this director for the Northeast and was elected. And I've also ran as president of ALOA, and I'm now finishing out a chapter as secretary for ALOA. So my time's coming close to stepping down and letting some younger people step in. But
Right.
one of the things I enjoy is the fire door inspector. I've really enjoyed this for the last several years because it is a new entity to locksmiths where they can earn extra money and relatively easy. You're all familiar with doors and hardware, so you're already pretty familiar with the items that need to be inspected. Uh, the big thing I found with people that go through the class is they say, well, I look at doors all the time. Not like you're going to. You're going to be inspecting a door, every single item on it. And you're going to look at that door and other doors totally different than you ever have before. So, my
Right.
question is, are you ready? Are you ready to step up and go out and earn more money? Now, where you say, okay, but how do I find customers? That's pretty easy, actually. Every hospital, every nursing home, retirement home, extended care facility, every local and state and federal government office building all have to be have their doors certified. It's by law every year. So
Right.
once you get a customer, that you've got that customer to go back every year and re-inspect those doors. So it's a reoccurring revenue that you can get set up. So
Right.
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. And that's one of the things that I've really been teaching people now. I work with a lot of other locksmiths, and they ask me a lot of business related questions. And one of the biggest questions is, how do we get RMR, monthly recurring revenue? And I tell people there's two ways to actually get that recurring revenue through this. And one is, like you just said, they have to be inspected every single year. So you go through and you kind of set up a maintenance routine with them. So hey, we've set it up this year. We want to come back next year. You almost get your next year's package put together while you're there. So you're setting up and teeing up that next big payment and that next big job. And not to mention, you're going around finding all of the problems with these doors. If you own your own company, you can then go out there and you can make a list of how you can repair those doors for them as well. And this is exactly how I've set up all of my service agreements that we have. I don't care what hotel you go into. If you walk the hallways and you go into the stairwell of a major hotel, you will find problems with their fire doors. I guarantee you will find there's no shortage of work there. And you get paid to find the problem. And then you also get paid to solve the problem. And then you can come back and you get to inspect that door later and you get paid again. And it's not to take advantage of people. That's not what I'm trying to say here. There's no ill intent, and there's only good ethics in behind this, but it's really about the life safety of the people and the occupants of that building and upholding the law. So I really hope people understand that. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes, in fact, England has had the inspection a little longer than we have, and they're running into a problem where inspectors also want to do the repair, which is fine, but they're now saying, well, this door needs to be repaired to this item, and it doesn't really need to be. They're padding the thing. Keep it honest. Do the inspection separate from the repair. We're not saying you can't do the repairs, you can, but
Yeah,
that's a separate billing.
right.
Do the inspection, keep it ethical. These are the truth. These are the items that you need to take care of. You can have somebody else do it, or I'll be glad to give you a quote to do it.
Yes.
So, it works out quite well. You need to find out who the AHJ is in your area. Find out from the fire marshal. Say who is have you talked to that are dealing with fire door inspectors. The reason I ask this is we have a gentleman up in Canada which has never had fire door inspectors before. They're just now getting it. And I just certified Brian Two Bears up there. He was in my June class. He was told by the fire marshals, and asking him as a locksmith and they're working with him, do you know anybody that does fire door inspections? And he said, yes, I'm going to be doing that. I'm getting certified. They said, as soon as you do, get back to us. This was 2 months ago. He just got a call from one of the fire marshals who has a crack house in his area that has been bringing people in and charging rent to them that are ex convicts and things like that. So it's really a bad situation. And they've been trying to shut it down, but haven't even gone through the fire marshals and the firemen going in and doing inspections. They couldn't find anything to shut them down. They got a hold of Two Bears, asked him about it. He says, let me come in and do a fire door inspection. And so they told the owner, all right, you're going to have to get a fire door inspection done. Guy says, no, you're not allowed. I'm not going to let you do it. Fine. We're going to fine you $20,000 a day until
Mm,
you do the inspection. Oh,
right.
okay. You can come do the inspection. Well,
Right.
in Canada, to replace a fire door, labor and material, it's about $5,000. He went
Right.
in and inspected and found 20 doors that needed to be replaced. Honestly, truly needed to be replaced. Because I
Wow.
can't afford it. Well, your tenants have 24 hours to get out. They shut it down and tore it down. It's no longer. So work with the AHJs. Let them know that you are a certified fire door inspector and you can help them when any time comes up. You're there to assist them. You're not going to cause them more work. That's the biggest thing that fire marshals are worried about, that you're going to cause them more work. No, I'm going to make your job easier. I'm going to
Right.
make it easy. I'm going to do all the work. All you have to do is look at your report once a year. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's a good example that you give there as to exactly how important this is. I've never really like try and hold a business hostage. Like if I see problems when I'm working there, I'll say, hey, I do have my fire door certification, and I see these problems with your door. If you'd like, I'd like to give you an estimate to repair these, or I'd like to give you an option to repair them. But it's not really my job to like go after them and turn them in, or like you said, if you don't have to look for extra things. Every fire door inspection that we've done on a campus, it usually produces its own large set of problems that is plenty big enough to deal with. You
Yep.
usually don't like adding things to it doesn't help the equation at all because they're already overwhelmed with so many problems. It's the door closer, it's the reveal all the way around, it's the hinges, it's the hardware on the door, it's the door sweep on the bottom, it's the door seal, it's everything, all of that door encompassed all in one package. And really, the most valuable thing that I really opened my eyes up when I took your class, because I've taken your class as well, just so everybody knows out there. I've
Yep.
taken Tom's class. It's fantastic. The money that you invest in it is pennies compared to what you're going to make long term, especially if you do that service contract type of stuff, or you get the same customer year after year after year. And my goodness, it is crazy how I went from looking at one isolated issue like the lock or the exit device as being the problem or the door closer, and now it's all one unit. And that's what people really need to think about. So go ahead and explain a little bit about how your class kind of talks about that.
Okay, so basically we start off it's a 2-day class on Zoom online. Um, Usually from the East Coast, 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 o'clock. It's about 3 hours each night. The first day we go through the codes and what the codes are, the types of doors, what you're going to be inspecting, and how you're going to go about inspecting it, what items you do. There are 13 items that have to be inspected every time you walk up to a door. We list those 13 items out. We go over in detail what you have to find on those doors. That's why it takes about 3 hours. The next day, I actually send you out to do homework. You got to go, I'll give you the forms and everything. You got to go out and inspect 3 doors. It's very easy to find a little motel and walk in and tell them, hey, we're here to do this. We're not going to turn it in. We're simply I'm taking the class, I need to do it. We've really had very, very few have turned this down. They'll let you go do it. So when you come back the next day, we come in, each person gets to present his report. This is a very good learning process because everybody does it a little bit different. You're going to be looking at a door for the first time, 13 items that you have to verify that are good on that door without any defects.
Mhm.
And it's a lot more than you think. I mean, it really is. You're going to be looking at that door with a microscope, basically.
Yes, you are. You really are. You put that door under a microscope and you look at it, and the more you do it, the more I just walk into a facility and I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Like your eye just starts going to it and catching it. Kind of like when you first become a locksmith, like when you first kind of enter the trade. Oh, you start noticing locks. Oh, that's a disc lock. That's a schlag. That's a quick. You know what I mean? You just start noticing things, and this is the same way. And oftentimes, when we're on the forums, some of the most common questions about where to mount hardware, what can you and can't you do with a fire door? Can you cut an extra hole in? Can you add this? Can you add that? I see these questions come up constantly over and over and over again, like a revolving conveyor belt. If you take this class, it's going to answer all of those questions for you. And the way that you teach it, doing that homework and doing that actual inspection, you're never going to have to ask that question again because it's going to be ingrained right into your brain.
Yeah, it actually, and it makes the class easier for you. All the other people out there, like DHI and all the other people teaching this class, don't have any inspections. They're teaching on the books. Here's the book. Here's what it says. Here's what you got to do. Now take a test, and that's it. You don't get any practical knowledge or practical experience of going out and then watching other people, because we usually have about 10 people in our class every month. So we get to watch, you get to see what different people have done, what they found, and say, oh, I could have done that, or I could do it this way, and it would give me a better report. I want you to be finished. I want you to be able to present a professional report to the owner who's paying you to do this. Don't
Yep.
look foolish out there like you've never done it before. We're going to make sure you know how to do it and that you
Mhm.
can present a professional report to the owners.
Yes, and that's a whole nother part of it is that some people understand the book aspect of it, and some people understand the doing aspect. Now, I'm more of a hands-on doing type of person, so I related much more to the actual go out there, look at it, touch it, feel it. How much pressure does it have? Looking at all the different pieces, actually building that report, and then the presentation of it also comes into play because again, we have to walk that fine line of, hey, we're not the Secret Service or the FBI, like trying to hold somebody hostage here, where you need to fix this and do this and do. And you kind of, some people can kind of go on a power trip with that. Really, you need to offer it as, look, here's what we did. You asked us to come down here. We came down here. We inspected your door. These are the problems that we came up with. And here are some of the solutions for that. And this is what we would need to do to fix it. And you're absolutely right. Being able to convey that information in a friendly manner that doesn't seem overbearing and hostile is definitely a skill set that people need to have. And that's another one of those really good things that people learn in your class, because as they're presenting, you can give them a little bit of critique on how to adjust things just a little bit. Okay, here's where you might want to add this. Here's where you might want to add this. And then, you did get everything correct on your door because you take pictures of the door, and then you kind of go over that inspection with them as well. So, just give us a couple examples of some people that you kind of are memorable from some of your classes giving their presentations.
Well, obviously, Two Bear from Canada, which is a little bit unusual, but I've had the class usually entitles all over the country. We'll have people from Virginia, Florida, Maryland, the West Coast, the Central Coast. Very seldom do I get two or three people from the same business. It's usually one, maybe two from the same business, but they're scattered all over the United States. So this is not strictly a local thing that's going on. It is countrywide and is
Hmm.
definitely out there. Um, some of the problems that we've run into in Virginia Beach, Virginia, we had a new fire marshal who went in and declared that electric strikes were mag locks and had to release instantly, which we
Mm.
all know you can do that. But that means every door is unlocked as soon as the power's going. So
Right.
it's fruitless. He came upon this decision because of the solenoid inside. When you energize it, it makes the little plunger pull down. He said that's magnetism.
Hmm.
So therefore, it's a magnet.
Hmm.
Yeah, and now, if you ever come across something like this in your business or your inspections, find out the brand name of the strike that he's dealing with. Contact that manufacturer's rep.
Hmm.
Let them go do the fight.
Right.
They will, believe me, they will go do the fight for you. Because if you do the fight, you may win, but you created an enemy.
Right.
That marshal's not going to be happy that you shut him down, and he will be watching for you on the next several inspections. So
Right.
don't don't
Yeah.
antagonize the fire marshal.
No, no.
Find a way around it.
Yeah, and that's one thing people need to understand too is working with the local jurisdiction authority. That's a whole different dance in itself. I tell a story here where this was years ago, and neither of them are here anymore, so that's why I can tell it. But we had one location where I went out to a building, and we were called out, and the fire marshal's report was that it was a storefront door, Adams right deadbolt, needed to have the signage up above, and they demanded a thumb turn be on the inside and a keyed lock on the outside, and they did not want they did not make it mandatory to have the open locked indicator. I get a call 2 months later from the new fire inspector on the same building, two doors down, and he wanted double keyed cylinders, keyed on each side, with open locked indicator and signage up above. Now, I did it both ways. And the reason I did it both ways is because it is not my job to argue with them. What I did is I had them put it in writing. You're the jurisdiction, you're the authority. So that means your word is what we're going to go with. You've said that you are the educated person, you are the authority, and this is the way you want it. That's fine and dandy. Get it in writing with letterhead and name and even maybe a signature on there. So I got all that put together and I put it all in my invoice and I put it away. And sure enough, they got inspected again from the new person. And they're like, hey, you need to change this over to the other way. And we had to change one of the ones to the other way. And they're like, well, you came out here and did it this way. Why did you do that? Why are you charging us twice? And I'm like, that's what the local jurisdiction said at that point in time. I'm just trying to do what they're saying. If they change their mind, that's up to them. But always, always, always keep good notes is my main point behind that. So tell us a little bit more about the class, and let's talk about how much it is. Some of the other things that you're going to go over, and how many people do you normally have? How often do you run this class?
We run the class once every month, basically except for July. The month that we have the lowest convention, we don't run it that month.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be every month we go down and we hold a class. Sometimes we'll look at December, January. We may skip if we're not getting a lot of people, because that time of year people got a lot else on their minds.
Right.
But basically, it's every month. It's $450 for ALOA members, and it's a little more for non-ALOA members.
Right. I think it's
Um,
$580 for non-ALOA
yeah, I
members.
think 580. And we usually try to keep it around 10 people or 10 students. We have had a class up to 15,
Mm-hmm.
and that really runs a long time the second day. If you
Because
got
everybody's doing their
15,
presentations.
right, given birthday, it takes a long time.
Right. Right.
So we try not to do that. We try to keep it at 10. We found is a good number, and we work with that. In fact, GPLA, which is the Greater Philadelphia Locksmith Association, is having their 75th anniversary
Mm-hmm.
this month up in Philadelphia. And I am offering a class there at a reduced rate for them for their 75th anniversary. So if
Oh, okay.
anybody's in the Philadelphia area and going to GPLA and you want to take the class, you can save money by
Yes,
going to taking it there. But
that's
normally
fantastic.
that's where it goes.
Right.
Um, we
When
have
is that?
gone kind of extensively into when I go through the class, I'd like to be able to give almost like examples of what you're inspecting. Each we list out each of the 13 items, but I also go through a little bit of life safety code because there are certain things in life safety code that you need to be aware of. But we're not going out and having to get the knowledge to say, well, that door should be a fire door and it's not. That's not our job. Our job is to go to the owner and say, all right, owner, show me your fire doors. And they
Right.
have to go out and show you the fire doors. If it's a hotel, that's easy. Every entrance, every stairwell door, they're all fire doors. Every
Yep.
mechanical room, every wire closet, those are fire doors. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes it real easy that way.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And that's like you say, that's the perfect way to bring it, and that's the perfect way to present it as well. And just start offering this to people, you know. Hey, and that's what I tell people a lot of times too is that's one of the ways that I gently um offer things to them. So if I see something that's not correct, like if the door closer is really hard to push in and it's like 30 pounds of pressure or something, or there's an exit device that's not functioning correctly, or there's an exit device and a deadbolt on the same door, like these are all some pretty major violations that you would find. And I'll tell them, hey, you know what? It's not my job try and turn people in. I'm not the locksmith police. I'm not out here trying to cause a problem, but I just would like to let you know that if you did get a fire inspection, if you did get a commercial fire inspection, which you will have every year for your commercial building, especially if you do any kind of renovation or pull a building permit or anything like that, they will see this. And the fines that could come and be associated with that would be much less than what my bill would be to repair it. And then on the flip side of that is also, if you're an investigative locksmith, your eyes also kind of go to these things, and you know if that door closer's slamming super hard, it's got way too much pressure. And I would tell people, hey, if a kid or if somebody gets their hand stuck in there or gets injured from this particular door, and you're not in compliance, you now have multiple factors stacking upon you to where you're going to have a lawsuit, most likely. I'm not an attorney. I'm not offering legal advice, but you're most likely, if somebody gets injured, we've seen this before. We hear this in that investigative locksmith class that ALOA offers, that somebody can sue you, and people have won tens and if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from doing that. And then on top of that, they're going to send a fire door inspector out there. They're going to send a certified forensic locksmith out there. And if you have two professionals saying this door is completely out of compliance, maybe they come back to me because they see that I worked on that door. I'll have it all written up in there. Hey, we told the customer this. We explained all of this to them, and I offered them a solution. We could have fixed this door for $400 or $500. Now you've got a $5,000 fine and a $50,000 lawsuit. Probably would have been a really good idea to go ahead and fix that back when it was a little baby problem, now that it's a gigantic problem.
Right. And a lot of times it comes that way. Basically, when we do the inspection, we give the report, we give it to the owner, we explain to them this is to protect people so they're safe during a fire. You need to get these taken care of right away. Gently telling it, you need to do it. If he says, fine, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it, say, great, see you in a year. If
Mm-hmm.
you go back the next year, you've got the report you did the first, and you go to those same doors, and he has not made any of the changes or fixes. Now you go to him and say, okay, sir, I advise you had these problems. They're still there a year later. I am obliged to turn a copy of this report over to the fire marshal tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah. You gave him a chance. You gave him a chance.
And
You weren't being
there's
a
no way
bully
around it.
about it. You weren't abusing your power. You were just, hey,
Yep.
here's some things that need to be fixed. And everybody knows that there's that cheap owner who just doesn't want to put any money into anything. Normally, I will really say that when I put it that way, when I say, look, I'm not trying to hustle up any extra work. I'm not trying to increase my invoice. I'm not trying to give an upsell here. I just see that your door closer is leaking oil. It's slamming. There's a possibility that somebody could get injured. Another big thing is like hinges, like pivot hinges and stuff. If they're about worn out, I'll show them and shake that door. Be like, look, this door is literally going to injure the public here pretty soon if you don't take responsibility for this. 9 times out of 10, they will go for that, especially when I'm saying, look, you can even hire somebody else. I just want you to be aware of the problem so that you can get it fixed however you want. I'm happy to give you a bid. And if you like the work that I do, I'm be more than happy to fix that for you. But when you offer things to people, it tends to resonate better as opposed to trying to be forceful with it and trying to use it as a command or,
Right.
really kind of abusing that authority, if you will.
Right. You can't just go and say, okay, this is what you've got X amount of days that you have to get this done. There's no ands, if, buts. You're going to come off, you're going to scare the hell out of them, and they're
Yeah,
not going to want to do anything.
right.
Or
And then
they're
you're
going to do it, but not be happy with you, regardless of how good a job you do.
Yep, and then Google reviews is going to hear about that, and your rating's going to tank. I mean, people can talk about that stuff now. So it really is all in the way that you present yourself, and that's another one of those wonderful things that you learn in your class. So we're coming up on about a half hour here. I think that's great. Do you have anything else to tell us about you or the class that you offer, or anything else that the people need to know about out there?
No, but one of the things that does happen. Um, in the Bronx in New York, they had a fire in a apartment complex where all the doors have spring hinges on them.
Mm,
And the fire started in one apartment. The people ran out. The doors started to close, but didn't quite close all the way. They ran down to the stairwell, down the stairwell. The stairwell door also had spring hinges, and it too did not quite close all the way.
mm,
14 people were injured, 7 died from
right.
this fire
Yeah.
because the doors did not close. The
Right.
fire marshals came back, checked the hinges, checked the door. There was nothing stopping the door from being able to close. The hinges just were getting worn and had not been readjusted to make sure it would close all the way. And
There's
that's what they found. So they then changed it on spring hinges. You now have to hold the door at only 30 degrees and let go, and it must close and latch. It has to latch.
Yep.
Positive latching is one of the biggest things on fire doors. That when you walk up to it, you push on the face of the door. Is the door latched?
Yep.
Because that is mandatory. It has to latch. That's what protects it from the fire and backdraft.
Yes, and I think that's a great point. Most people think that the fire door inspection class or the fire doors themselves are designed to stop the fire from actually burning through. Really, it's because of all the seals and because the door has to positively latch, it's designed to cut off the oxygen getting to the fire so that it can't get any more fuel in most cases. That's the point of them. That's why the doors have to come shut. They have to positively latch. Another thing that really you see all the time is like in hotel lobbies, you have those automatic doors that are always held open by the magnets. That's another thing that you need to check and you can get into on those. They need to release in the event of a fire alarm. They need to close fully and they need to come and positively latch and completely latch and shut down. And I will tell you that probably 70 to 80% of the doors that we go look at that have that system on them don't shut and latch. They don't even know that it works properly. They're pinned open all the time and nobody pays attention to them because there hasn't been an emergency or a problem. But by the time there is one, it's already too late.
Yeah, and it's funny because when they do their yearly fire test, they'll have people stand in the hallway. So I cut the alarm. Yeah, they close the latch. They close the latch. Nobody walked over and pushed on that door to see if it latched. They just saw it close and it said, "That's it. It's okay." As
Yep.
long as it let go from the magnet, that's all they cared about.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Well, we have some fantastic news as well here. We've talked with Aloha and we've talked with Tom, and we're actually, this is the best part of the class. This is a huge, huge offer here. We're going to be giving away a seat in your class, and they can join in the October or the November class if you share this video and tag me in it. You share the video and you tag my name in it, and I acknowledge you. I will enter you in the contest. We're going to run the contest for 48 hours from when this is originally posted. And if you share this post and you tag me in it and I acknowledge you, we're going to add you, we're going to assign you a number based on the time you submitted, and then we're going to run it through a Google randomizer, and whoever that number picks will actually get to sit in for free. That is a $580 value if you are not a member, a $450 member if you are a member. And I mean, this is one of the biggest giveaways that ALOA has ever given away. So not to mention, you'll get to sit in Tom's class. You'll get to enjoy the giveaway. You'll be able to utilize this. You'll be able to bring more money in for your company, yourself. It's going to increase your own toolbox. And it's just a fantastic deal, a fantastic opportunity. And I'm so glad that we were able to do this, Tom. Thank you so much for coming on today. Your classes are amazing. You're one of the best ACE certified instructors on the planet. You've been teaching for years, and people will definitely learn something and gain something from your wisdom and knowledge, my friend. I really appreciate you being here today. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you when we see you. Thanks again, Tom.
Take care.
All
Bye now.
righty. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.